All right, and we are live. So I'm going to have a live discussion with Dr. Barsha from Grandma 2.0, and we will be just getting to know each other, asking each other questions, and we'll be talking about personal training with a Grandma 2.0 group.
So crazy. All right. All righty. Let's do the doggone thing.
Yes,
Okay. So what's up? How are you?
I'm good. Learning, I you know,
Learning what?
learning how to use Instagram.
Oh yeah, no. I always feel like I'm behind the curve on this when I do these kinds of things. Um, because I don't know, it's just it's not new to most people, but it's new to me. I'm not really explored doing this, but I'm pushing beyond my boundaries because that's how I like to live my life in my 2.0 version of myself.
Of course, of course. I-
I'm
Just
constantly pushing myself to do some
yes.
things that I probably would not do. So, yeah. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit. I'm excited that we're on here together because this means that one that we got it right. We figured it out.
We
So
did.
that's a major accomplishment. Somebody needs to give us some trophies, and then right for doing that.
Just when I figure it out, then there's an update, and I was like, wait, why? Why are they? I don't understand.
Right.
It's forever
And
evolving.
then the second thing is that we get a chance to talk about what we're doing. So I'm really excited about that too. So let's talk. So do you want me to start with questions? You want to start since you're the lead?
Well, we can both talk about our backgrounds first and
Okay,
introduce
okay,
get
okay,
into
okay,
questions. So go ahead and start.
okay.
And
So I
oh,
don't want to give my professional background because this really has nothing to do with what I do day to day,
got it.
but it does. And here's why. Because by working out and really focusing on my health and wellness, my physical health, being able to do some things, some functional things that maybe I couldn't do maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, has really upped my game in other areas of my life. So even though it's not work related, it does impact the work that I do. When I was working out with this trainer, she said it helps build your endurance. And that is true. By focusing on things like eating better, working out more, moving your body more, it really does help in those things as well. So it is related. So that's one thing I
Yeah.
want to say. But the Grandmas 2.0 is all about inspiring grandmas to be the best version of themselves. And it was so funny because last night when I could not sleep, um, I turned on the TV, and you're familiar with Young and the Restless, right? It's a
I've heard.
soap opera.
I've
I
heard.
mean, your generation does reality shows, but my generation did soap operas. And so the soap operas, which like the reality shows, in my opinion, are just like soap operas, except they're live, so to speak, for I guess to a certain extent. And so I was watching Young and the Restless, and one of the episodes was talking about a girl who'd been on the show for a long time, over 20 years, and she's now about to become a grandma. So my ears perked up, right? Because whenever you mention the word grandma, I'm like, wait a minute, what are they saying about grandma? And so it was so funny because what I did was I'm like, okay, I need to videotape what she's saying and here's why. Because so her husband was saying to her, oh, you're going to be, tell me, are you ready for that new role of being a grandma? And she said, well, yeah. She said, because grandmas today are different than what they were in the past. And I'm like, no, she didn't steal my words, right? That was my first thought. That was my first thought. I'm like, no, she didn't steal my words. And then she said, yeah. She said, he said, well, you look like a grandma. And that's what I've always said. People say, well, you don't look like a grandma. So I'm all like, what does a grandma look like? So here we are. The soap operas now are getting into the same thing that we're talking about, is helping people to redefine grandmas and realize that grandmas are not like they used to be.
No.
And he was saying, so he said to her, "You're a hot grandma," and then sometimes he said, "Oh, you're so fly," that sort of thing. So we don't usually say those. We don't usually put that adjective in front of the word grandma, a fly grandma, a hot grandma. But things are changing, and so it was just very exciting to hear that and how people are really embracing this whole new vision about grandmas. So that's kind of how you and I got together, and we were looking for someone to do some workout sessions with us to lead us in that. And so I'm excited that we got you because of your background. So maybe this is a point where you need to share your background and all of that. But again, my job was just to try to get something for grandmas to do to keep them moving, keep them functioning, because it's so easy to slip into not being able to do things for yourself and to be independent. And so we were excited when we found you. So I'm going to let you take the floor now.
Well, thank you. And I am all for this movement. I'm all for it. As you can see on my page, I'm very active with my grandma, and she's been the one to inspire to keep everybody moving, work on all fitness levels. So given that, that's part of what took part in deciding the career path that I chose. So I mean, I've done sports my whole life, and so it didn't seem like it for me to get my bachelor's of science in kinesiology. So I studied exercise, did all of that. But then after I graduated, I'm like, okay, so what now? Then I became CSCS certified. I became certified strength and conditioning specialist, so I could athletes. I specialize in strength, but my first few jobs was me personal training. So I was working with general population. So these are people that just wanted to get in shape, lose weight, or just general. I wasn't necessarily working with my athletes, but I was working with. And I realized everybody was coming in with something. Their reason stopping to working out was because of, oh yeah, like I hurt my knee, and then like I went, and then I stopped, or happened, and I don't really know. And so I was really, okay, well, I'm gonna need to go back to school and learn more about conditioning, learn more. I didn't want how much I know to limit who I can work with. And so then that was when I went back and I got an Associate of Science in Physical Therapy as a PTA, Physical Therapist Assistant. So that way I constantly be exposed to working whatever population. So then look into geriatrics, then I can look into pediatrics, then I can look into just general population ortho, then I can look into pelvic health if I wanted to. I can go in any field that I want. And so when the pandemic hit, I was just working out in my garage, and then I was always adamant about my grandma going to therapy just because that was my background, and I was always like pushing for her to go. I was working out in the garage, and then my grandma would join me. She would just she'd grab the 2-pound weights and grab some pounds, and knowing that I was working out, she'd be very quiet. Okay. I know she'd start to look at me, not say anything, just start stepping on things and moving around. I was like, okay, all right, so I think we have something here. And so
was she trying to do the things that you were doing?
All the things I was doing. And I was like, no, wait. Okay, let's get a version here. Let's do that. Put this one down. Let's grab this weight instead. So she would just quietly just kind of be like looking at me, grab a weight and start to, like she's discreet. And I'm like, no, okay, we're going to do this together. And so then I started posting stuff online, and with the pandemic, everybody being closed together in their house, people were like, oh, I love that. I want to do more stuff with my grandma. I want to do more stuff with her, or I really want my mom to be more active, or I really. So that was when it kind of grew from there. So
yeah, and I think that is probably the group that we probably need to kind of target. And the reason I say that is because we've been reaching out to grandmas and saying, oh, we got these classes going, they are only 30 minutes, you join either one, you don't have to do something every day if you don't want to, 2 or 3 days a week, whatever. And that's been going very slow. And I think it's probably because people think, oh, they're going to be doing aerobics and it's going to be too tough for me.
Yeah.
Because like and then I had one grandma who said, we invited her to join in, just to kind of get a sample, right, of what it was going to be like. And she said, well, I felt like a patient because she was taking us very slow. She was telling us everything, like, okay, you here's why you do this. And you were demonstrating. She said, and she wasn't doing it with us. And I said to myself, but some people are patients, in that maybe there's something that they can't do that they should be able to do in order to be independent, to live independent. That's my whole thing, living independently, right? And so, or being able to live so I don't have to ask me, okay, honey, because I remember my grandma used to, honey, can you tie my shoes for me? Honey, can you do so and so? Honey, can you zip me up? Honey, can you do something? And, of course I did it, but I was like, man, why can't grandma do those things for herself? I mean, I was just thinking, why can't she do those for herself? So I've always wanted to be able to do those things for myself. And I pride myself in being able to do it. And, just sometimes it's just about attempting to do it and keep trying till you get it. But yeah, so that was the thing. Yeah.
And that's what I aim for. So this, with the culture of what we've grew up with and how we've adapted towards being around our grandmothers, it's rude to not offer to tie the shoes. It's rude to not offer
exactly
to
right.
Not, and then they don't do it, and then when you're gone, and then they're there, it's just like, wait a minute, I still got to put my shoes on, or wait, I still got to do this.
Right. Exactly.
So that's something that I think that we can continue to break the mold in. And so I'll supervise my grandma doing something like, what do you mean you're not going to do it for her, this and that? And I was like, she does a lot more unsupervised, so this is why I actually want her to do it, to make sure that she's doing it right, because the minute I leave, I know she's going to go climb on something that she can't reach, or she's going to, I know, so that. But that's why I gained the field that I went in the field that I was going into, as far as the member that joined us, and she was saying that it felt like therapy. So I purposely went into this field so that I can take a closer look and to see, because personal trainers can have this bad rep of pushing people, or probably pushing people or overdoing it, or styles of workouts, and nothing against them, because if that's the style that you want, you can go ahead and do that. If you want joining with you, you can do an aerobic class, but somebody in my background, I'm going to be taking a look at you. I'm going to be looking at your form. I'm going to be carefully describing what's happening. And for some people, it might not appeal for them, but I'm constantly going to be reminding you, this is why we're doing it. This is what we're doing. I want it to be careful, especially population, to where I can teach you how to push yourself, but do it safely, because safety is a priority.
Right.
Break a sweat, you can go ahead and do that, but that's why it's my approach. And so you can't just throw any population in and be like, all right, we're going to go for it. And so that's why, that's my thing, that's my style. And so
right. And I like that. And like I told her, and I said, well, for me, that's what I need, because I want to make sure that I'm doing it right. Secondly, I want to make sure that I want somebody who has that background supervising me, not just someone. And I don't want to sound, like I said, I don't want to sound negative about anybody else who's not in, who doesn't have a degree in this or whatever, or a degree might be something else, and then you end up with you get a certificate to do personal training. That's fine, don't have a problem with that at all. And if you put in the time and energy, yes, you're an expert in that field. But I really want somebody to say, oh, well, that's your, like bone, whatever, your rotator cuff or whatever the situation is. And you need to, you need to work it this way. And here's what you can do to stretch it out, to loosen it up a little bit. And here's what you can do. That's what I want. I want that, I guess, almost like that medical background, so that I know that you're going to make me do it the right way, not just go through the motion. And I like the fact that it's a small group and you can actually watch. So
Yeah.
that worked for me. Now I do want to do that other, aerobic and get that going too, because that I've been doing that. But I also, again, I've ended up hurting myself a couple of times. And that's what I don't want. So, and Cassie says, yeah, her background your background is perfect for someone that is post surgery. Yeah, definitely. And so all that makes a difference. And even though every grandma is not going to have aches and pains and all that, but many of them do.
Yeah.
Many of them do. Yeah. So this is why I thought this would be an ideal class. So I feel really lucky to for us to have found you
Yeah.
for our group, our population. Yep. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
When I saw the message, I was like, wait a minute, this can't be real life. Because I get these messages, people selling me all these products, and it's
right.
on my page, and I'm like, oh man, I thought you wanted to know how my day went. But
Right.
no, it was like a real message, and I'm like, wait a minute. And I read it, and I told my grandma, I said, look, I'm going to be working with them. And she was, oh,
Somebody that likes us. Yeah,
yeah.
we're working with someone else. And, I don't know. The other thing is everybody doesn't have the patience for people who need you to take it a little slow for them, maybe sometimes, or to demonstrate and then to tell them, okay, no, but do it this way so that you're getting the most from that particular exercise. So all of that to me matters. And I don't know that it matters to everyone else, but it does matter to me. And so that's what I wanted to bring. So again, I feel very lucky that we found you. But tell me this. So you worked out with your grandma. Any other grandmas
So
other than us now? Any other grandmas you worked out with?
So when I was living in Gainesville, I did have a few clients that were older as like first personal training clients,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Mm-hmm.
worked in a geriatric clinic.
Oh.
So that was like back to back,
Mm-hmm. Okay. 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 All right.
10 to 5. I was there working with patient to patient, and my internship was also in the geriatric population. And so the physical therapy clinic that I was working in, they were there, but it was partnered with the gym. And so
Uh-huh.
we got them to the point where they were ready to get discharged, but we got them into a program where they would learn how to use the machines at the gym, and they would track their weights. And so we kind of taught them how to, like, okay, you'll get your first month free. So our biggest thing was, yeah, we get them out of the clinic, but we need to get them into the gym. So that's what we strive for in the place where I was doing my internship at. And then
Mm-hmm.
that I worked with, we had a lot of balanced patients, people with circulatory issues, neuropathy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
whatever
Mm-hmm.
it had of some ortho things that were going on. But that's what we dealt with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. I think that makes your background even stronger because again, with this particular population, they're going to ask a lot of questions. Because like I know for me, I always want to say, so what does that help me with? If I'm doing that, what is that going to help me with?
Mhm.
Because of course I have areas that I feel like, oh God, I need to work on that. Lord have mercy, So but again, I also want to be able to do those functional things like go up and down the stairs without a whole lot of pain, without a whole lot of, I can remember running up the stairs. I don't do that now, but I can remember doing that, right? Or running down the stairs. That sort of thing. Being able to tie my own shoes without having to ask someone to help me. All those just little things like that make a
Mhm.
difference. Getting up and getting down on the floor, and then all the way on the floor, because there's some exercise that you have to get down on the floor with, and then being able to get back up once you get down there, because that commercial, what is it, I've fallen and I can't get up. That commercial.
Everybody, like, that's like, it's almost ruined it for grandparents. Almost,
Right.
it's just like a meme that goes everywhere. We all know.
Exactly. So I do not want to be that victim, okay? I want to be able to get down there and get back up and that sort of thing. That is
It's
so
all
important.
like who's like this, laying on the floor, one arm to the side. We all know with the green shirt, like everybody knows, like that is.
Right. Right.
But as far as from like a functionality standpoint, like when people are working out, I start the timer, I watch the form, boom, and I start rambling. But I'm doing
Mhm.
it to talk about what they're doing and why, so they know why it translates over. So what it means to do functional exercises is doing something that's catered towards them. People are like, oh, what do you do for a living? And I was like, oh, well, I help people do what they do for a living.
Mhm.
That is what I
Mhm.
do. So I'm not gonna have you do box jumps because you probably don't need to do box jumps. I'm
Right.
not.
Yeah. Where am I gonna do? It's like, when you're in school and you say, "Well, where am I gonna use algebra again?"
It's it's
I'm
it's
never
like
gonna use
that.
that in real
Exactly.
life. You know.
So I'm gonna give you things that I know that are very important in your life for you right
Mhm.
and
Mhm. Mhm.
reserved to meet your demands. That's what I'm gonna do for you. Any movement that you might not need to necessarily do any exercise, it's not really something that's needed, then I'm not gonna have you do it because it's all
Mhm.
risk benefit ratio. Why am I gonna
Yeah.
have you do burpees? Do you need to do burpees? No.
Uh-huh.
You do the
Uh-huh.
burpees when you get up and go to the fridge and get a glass of water? No. So I'm not gonna have you.
Uh.
So
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah. That's good, and I think that's the part that I like is that whole functional part of it.
yeah,
So in my profession, I teach early childhood to teachers, right? And so there's some classes like child development focused classes that I teach. And it's so funny because when I'm doing my lectures with my students and I talk about physical development for young children, I see myself in my discussion. Like for example, like right now, my and I laugh all the time about it, and my students probably say, "Well, what is she laughing at?" But I'm really laughing at myself because I think about, wow, when you think about the cycle of life, you have these infants that are learning how to walk, learning how to, get on all fours, learning how to get from fours to stand up, and the process that they go through to do that and how we need to support them. Then when you become an adult who can't do some of those things, you think about, God, I'm a toddler again. So, it's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's sad. It's really sad when you think about it. But I laugh about that because one of the things that we focus on is about those functional skills that children need to learn in order to be, like the walking, making sure that they learn how to walk and the gait and how important that is, and then even moving your arms and legs at the same time and all those kind of things. And then when you get older and you don't really when you can't do that anymore, you don't do it as well, or you lose your balance, then you're like, oh my God,
run it
I'm
back,
back to toddlerhood.
back, back. And there's a reason why. There's a reason why we do that. So babies, they'll work on they're laying down, right? Then they eventually support their heads, and then they can eventually lay on
Mm-hmm.
their tummies. They're laying on their tummies, and then they start to strengthen their back. And when you feel babies, their back starting to get hard. It's first it's mushy, then it starts to get hard. They're laying on their back,
Mm-hmm.
constantly extending their back, constantly extending their back, just like when we're on the floor and we're doing Supermans. And then they start and
Mm-hmm.
they're crawling. They're strengthening their core. They're strengthening their paraspinals. They're strengthening. They're working on moving opposite arm, opposite leg, and then once they master that, and then they eventually start to walk with some support, and they eventually start to walk. So all of those things are leading towards them being able to walk. And then as you get older and you are not able to walk like you used to, the quality of movement is starting to get shifted. We have to reteach them how to do it. Let's go back to
Right.
strengthening back the paraspinal. Let's go back to strengthening back the core. Let's go back to reaching
Mm-hmm.
opposite arm, opposite leg. Then boom, we got them crawling again. Boom, we got them coming up and down off the floor. So
Mm-hmm.
it goes back again because if you stop doing it, then you have to start
Right.
doing it again. So it seems silly, but no,
Exactly.
it's beautiful how the development goes on, and then it comes back, and we go back to do it for that very reason. How
Mm-hmm.
everything that they do is carefully timed
Mm-hmm.
for being able to
And
walk.
you're right. And so and I, like I said, I've been thinking about that. I think about that when I'm teaching the class, and then Also with my own grandson, who is, my grandchildren and all of them, actually, it made me think about that. And I laugh at myself. But then now I have a 6-month-old grandson. And so when he's doing tummy time, right? And I tell my daughter, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, he needs to do tummy time and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, you know what? He and I can start working out together.
Yeah. Both y'all do tummy time together.
We can do tummy time together. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's really funny, but the life cycle is very interesting. And someone says, yeah, health is so important. And what's so interesting is we don't think about that, how
Mm-hmm.
that can deteriorate so fast. And I
Yeah.
know, like, my husband and I are from the same hometown, and when we go back to back there, we always say, God, it's so shocking that there's so many people that or bent over, or can't sit up straight, can't stand up straight, or walking with a cane or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I think we might even be older than we, like, whispering to each other. Like, I think we
Yeah.
might be older than them. What is going on?
Yeah.
Because it's like, are you not focusing on your health, or is
Yeah.
there something else going on? Because I think too that another reason why this is so important is that not only does it force you to focus on your physical health, as far as being able to do things for yourself, but it also forces you, for me anyway, to look at what I'm eating, what my body is consuming as
Yeah.
well. And I believe they go hand in hand. So all of those, all of that makes a difference, because if I'm going to work out and work out and work out and still going to eat French fries every day, like,
Yeah.
what? It makes no sense. So I think all of that goes hand in hand. And I think if we, always say, I want to be the 2.0 version of myself, which in actuality is a better version than what I ever was, right? In every aspect of my life. But I feel like I need to start with my health and wellness,
Yeah. Yes.
in order to get to the other things that I want to do as well. So, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And your body's gonna scream at you if you don't. And there's subtle reminders that people don't realize that are reminders. And
Mm-hmm.
come in and say, oh, hey, this can be a sign for that, or
Mm.
hey, this actually, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it could be a sign of that, or hey, this, every
Mm-hmm.
like your body's like whispering at you. But people in the health field, they're going to be the ones that know, oh, yeah, this is what this means. But people are not going to know otherwise, So
Mm-hmm.
building that awareness is huge, and seeing
Yes.
body movement, seeing how people move, that's a whole other animal. And then the eating, that's a whole other thing too. Taking it one thing at a time. But that leads into one of my questions that I have for you. Is
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
how have you looked at movement since you started training with me? Like, how has that changed?
How has my movements changed?
No, how have your viewpoints on
Oh,
movement?
my viewpoint. Okay. So, like I was saying earlier, I thought about it from that perspective of the life cycle, right? I was thinking
Mhm.
about it from that perspective, and trying to figure out where I went wrong along the way. But I know where I went wrong. If I really took the time to think, but I know exactly where I went wrong. And it was about not eating right, not exercising enough, and all of those things. But now I'm more aware
Yeah.
of how I move. For example, when I'm coming up the stairs, even when I'm getting up and getting down on the floor,
Mhm.
um, you've taught me the system to do that. Because as I was telling you, when I was working out just a week ago before I started working with you, because I think we've been doing, what, 2 weeks now?
Yeah.
Three maybe?
I
Two?
do. I
I
feel.
think we're going to our third week. But anyway, so before that, I was getting up and off, but it was different. Because remember, I was telling you, it was so different how I was doing it, and it was very frustrating.
Yeah.
So now being able to do it the way that you taught me to do it is a lot better for me. And
Mhm.
then I feel so much better about myself being able to do it. It's a lot quicker.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm going to hurt myself by doing it that way. So that's the other thing. So I'm much more aware of my movement. And, you know, if I turn my camera around and show you the room that I'm in, right? I call this my studio, because you see I have my backdrop back here for Grandma's 2.0. But on the other side of this wall, on another wall in this room, I have shoes. And I have a whole thing, just nothing but heels, right? I want to be able to still wear those heels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I'm a fly grandma, okay?
Sure.
2.0 version of me is fly. So I want to be able to wear those things. So all of that matters to me. And it really makes me more aware. Because like when you had me doing the things where I was on my tiptoes, I had to do one
Yeah.
leg. Yeah. I was thinking, maybe
Yeah.
this is going to help. I was thinking, I wonder if this is going to help me be able to wear my heel. That's how I think.
I take all those things into consideration when I'm having.
Yeah. So yeah, it has made me more aware. Yeah, it definitely has made me more aware. So what is Cassie saying? She said she feels more comfortable with moving without injury. That was a big fear. Yep.
Hey,
Mm-hmm.
awesome. I was wondering what account that was.
Yeah. That's Cassie. Where it says C Domino to Bray.
Yeah, I see you.
Yeah, that's Cassie. Yep. But it's interesting. But again, I've been definitely been more aware of my movement, and I ask questions like when you were telling us to do the wall pushes or whatever you call them, and I was like, so are my hands supposed to be flat? So all that makes a difference. I want to do it right so that I don't hurt myself. That's really
Yeah,
important for me. Yep.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And every little angle can change what muscle group is being worked, and telling people where they're supposed to be feeling things can kind of give them a better mind body connection.
Yes.
And being able to tell, okay, this is where I'm supposed to feel it. This is why I'm doing this. Because if they're feeling it somewhere else, you want to make sure they're not compensating. Because again, you
Uh,
want to make sure that they're not hurting themselves even more. You want them to benefit from it. You want it to translate to a movement that they're doing every day. And that's something that I learned to describe and value even more when I'm working with the
uh-huh.
population, because sometimes
Uh-huh.
I have them doing exercise and they might not say anything.
Mm-hmm. Right, because we can be embarrassed that we can't do some of the things.
Either
But
or
I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Mm-mm.
it's either that or they'll feel a burn somewhere and they think that it's a part of the exercise.
Ah, okay. Yep. I could see that too.
I was
Yeah, I could see that too. Yep.
they were doing a staggered stance and I was having them do some like tricep extensions or whatever. The weight was too light for their triceps,
Mm-hmm.
the feeling in their triceps. But I was like, where are you feeling this? She's like, oh, I feel this in my calves. Is this for my calves? And I'm like, no, it's not. Not at all. It's
Mm,
triceps. But
mm.
if you're feeling this in your calves and you're only in this stance position, that's telling me, one, that your calves are really tight, and two, we have some work to do. And so that's kind of like, if I don't say it, then they're not going to know.
Right,
It's going to help.
exactly. That's why it's so important. Yeah.
That's going to help with the
Yeah.
neuromuscular portion of working on making sure they're feeling it where they're supposed to feel it. So I want to make sure that I'm explaining it, but also letting them know how they need to feel after.
Mm,
Are you sore
mm,
for 1 day? Are you sore for 2 days? Are you
mm-hmm.
sore for 3? And working with this population, the recovery is different from how it was.
Right. Recovery time is longer. It requires more time for recovery. Yeah.
It
Yeah. Yeah.
also can take longer for certain things to kick in.
Mm-hmm.
So if they do something that hurts themselves, sometimes they might feel it like 2 days later. Sometimes they feel it 1 day later. Sometimes
Mm,
it might not be right away, or they'll get like an ache. However,
mm-hmm.
after they might not feel it right then and there. So it's the time frames kind of shift a little bit, and so you have to accustom to not the time frames that they were used to back then, where they would feel it and then it would go away and then it'd be okay, it's fine. It might come back a few months later, but these are descriptive things that we constantly have to say and constantly have to educate them on. I had I had a patient who came. I had a patient who came to the clinic. I was having him do some exercises, and then um, that particular session, that particular day, I was just having to do exercise. I didn't tell them how long they were going to going to feel things for.
Mm-hmm.
So they called back upset. They're like, "Wait a minute. I have these sensations in my legs, and I feel it at the tops of my legs, and I don't like that, and that is not what I came here for, and this and that." And I was like, no, no. Okay, so I worked your quads, and they're getting stronger, and the soreness is okay. So I have to break it down, and that's
Yeah. Yeah.
so.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. That another reason why you want to tell people so they'll know. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because Yeah, I like to have that information to know what
Yeah.
it is that, like, am I doing it right? Yeah, where should I be? Where should this? Yeah, where should I feel the impact of this? And am I going to be able to wear my heels? That's the most important
Look,
thing.
I, so when I say I help people do what they do, runners are
Uh-huh.
gonna run, lifters are gonna lift, dancers are gonna dance, high heel wearing people are gonna wear high heels. Like, listen,
Exactly.
do what we can
Exactly.
with moderation, risk benefit ratio. Okay.
Risk benefit ratio. So there was a woman in my college I used to teach at before here, and she was 86. I
Mm-hmm.
never forget her, Dr. Benford. Dr. Benford wore heels every day to class. She walked from the parking lot to the. I was like, wow. When I grew up, I want to be just like Dr. Benford because she wore heels, and I was like, wow. So, but anyway, I know that's neither here nor there. But for me, that's something that's important for me. Okay, so that's why one of the another reason why I want to work out, continue to work out, is because I want to make sure that I can dress the way I want to dress and look the way and look good in my clothes and all those things and feel comfortable and not be in pain when I'm doing it.
Yes.
You
It's
know,
about,
and another benefit. So I see Cassie said she walked a mile yesterday. You go, girl. She about ready for what did you came to the decathlon? What do you call those things? Not the marathons, but the one where you do 3 or 4 different sports at one time.
the triathlon or the
Yeah, those kind of things. Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you can do like 3 or 4 different races, a different yeah, one time or in one sports activity or whatever. But yeah, those things are important. That's another thing that I want to be able to do too, is to walk without feeling the pain
Mm-hmm.
in my hip. So the last time I walked, I did feel some pain, and so I want to be able to do that. Yeah, I really want to be able to do that. And so I was telling my husband, so we need to get back out there and start walking again when the weather changes. So I'm getting ready, call myself getting ready for that. To be able to get out there and do that. The other thing that this has done for me is I've been sleeping better.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been sleeping better at night because although I was working out, I was doing more aerobics than anything, and some strength training, some balancing and all that kind of stuff with my other classes. But I wasn't sleeping at night, like all through the night. But lately, I've been sleeping all through the night. It's been so nice to be able to do that until last night. But other than that, that's what I've been doing. So it's been really good to be able to do that. Like instead of waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, can't get back to sleep.
Right.
I sleep like from if I go to bed at like 11 or 12, sleep
Mm-hmm.
all the way to like 6 or 7. So that's been nice for me.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I do that. And so that's another reason why I like taking those night classes too. Taking the classes later in the day
Mm-hmm.
versus in the morning. So I didn't think that would make a difference, but that makes a huge difference.
So it definitely varies from person to person. Now,
Right.
when you're working out,
Mm-hmm.
if you if somebody's work schedule conflicts and there's absolutely no other time that you can work out and you have to work out this time, okay, go for it. But is taking into consideration how far apart the workout is from going to sleep. So if I'm working out at like 9 p.m. and I know that
Mm-hmm.
I'm supposed to go to bed at 11, my metabolism might be up and running. It might be harder for me to go to sleep. So like that's something. But if you want to make sure, just advice for everyone, make sure that it's quite a few hours away from the time that you go to sleep. So if you're going to bed like midnight or something, and you're like working out at 7, like that's fine. But if you're working out like
Mm-hmm.
10 p.m. or like 11, then you're going to be up for a little bit. But if it's enough
Right.
time frame,
Enough time in between. Right.
then you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
improvement in quality of sleep. That's definitely a benefit to working out, and sleep itself is a vital. If not, will affect your vitals if you don't if you don't sleep.
Right.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Going back to your hip and walking, as far as training, like how would I adapt to that is if it's something that you're feeling if when you're walking Is it something that you feel right away? Is it something that you feel 20 minutes in? Is it something that you feel 30 minutes in? Is it something that you feel the next?
Okay, yeah. Once I get
These are,
into the walk, not right away. Yep.
yeah, this is dialogue that you have to have with your client, with your patient, to know, is this
Okay.
an endurance issue? Okay, well then am I going to need to lean towards the endurance side when I'm having her do these exercises? Am I not be leaning towards higher reps? How is she
Okay.
for that? Let's
Okay.
start
Okay.
her off with doing half a mile. And then
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks of her doing half a mile, then let's make it 3/4 of a mile. Let's wait 2 more weeks,
Mm-hmm.
brisk pace for quarter mile, and then 3/4 of a mile, slower pace. Okay, and then there's all these like ways in which you can work towards being able to do that to where you're not jumping in too quickly and making it worse, hurting yourself. But
Mm.
all of those things go through my head when I'm working with
Mm.
someone, when they talk about what are their goals and what is it
Right.
to do. So that ties along with movement goals. That actually answers the other question that I had for you. I was like, well, what's a movement goal that you have? And so,
Okay.
oh, all right, I'm gonna keep those things in mind while I'm having the exercise.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So yes, the walk, being able to do the walk. So what I did was, well, let's see, it's been probably about before the snow. We have snow now. We had snow a week or so ago. So maybe 2 weeks prior to that, during the holiday, I walked from, I don't think it's a mile, from one end of the street all the way down to the other end where it stops, and then back. And I don't think that's a mile. It may be half a mile. But I was like, God, by the time I got back here to my house, my hip was hurting. So maybe somewhere in the middle. And I knew, and every time I did it that week, that same spot is where it would hurt. And I'm like, wow. So what does that mean? Should I not go that far? Should I keep pushing, keep doing it every day and then eventually it'll go away? These are the questions that
Yeah,
I had for myself.
of course. So as far as advice, immediately when you're feeling something like that, just to clear the basis, make sure you go see, make sure you get an evaluation, make sure you get all those things. You know what I mean? Like, clear the basis, make sure that's done. Once all that's done, the things that you can do outside of that is knowing that this is where you feel the pain, stop right before it.
Mm-hmm.
Once you do that,
Okay.
then start to go up a little bit more and make sure you're spacing out the time frames in which you're increasing that time frame of going up, going up, going up gradually.
Okay.
So that's
Okay.
how do we get right before the pain and
Right.
there and get comfortable with that and then go up from there. But then also make sure that you are doing exercises that are outside of those planes that you're working. You're walking, you're moving like this.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure that you're exercising and going in this plane and going in this plane and going in this plane. Because what if I walk like this and think about how your body is moving when you're walking in this plane? Let's say this leg can stretch to here and this leg stretches to here. You wouldn't have discovered that have you only been walking. But if you're walking and and this leg can go all the way over here and this one can go over here on a very detailed level, how are your joints moving when you're walking, knowing how much tighter this one side is than the other?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
think about a picture frame, and you
Mm-hmm.
that are holding up the picture frame like that. And let's say if we have a third string there, what if one string is tighter and the picture frame tilts,
Leans. Yeah.
leans to
Mm-hmm.
one side? But it's
Mm-hmm.
very
Mm-hmm.
you don't. But then let's say we just cut this one string over there. Or what if we lengthen this string? What if we turn this string into a bungee string? What if we how is that affecting on a more detailed level? So that's why interval training is going to be complementing the movements that you're doing. So it's like a big thing. How are you sleeping? How is that recovery taking play into the pain? How is that? How what is? Are you recovering well? Are you nourishing your body after? Are you because all of those things take if your sleep is off. Not to go off too much into a tangent, but this is perfect for this population and anyone.
Mm-hmm.
But if your sleep is off, then you're more sensitive to pain. If your sleep is off,
Ah.
ability to tell your judgment and ability to tell when something is about to hurt is off.
Mm.
If your sleep is off, then your pain receptors like boop boop. They're more sensitive. They're, okay. I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go this. And it's so much stuff that's going on that you're not realizing that are
Right.
all connected.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, that's an excellent point. That because, like I said, I've been sleeping better. So to know that all of those things are connected is, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
amplified because during
And we don't think about those. We
yeah
don't think about that. Yeah.
yeah
Like,
during
am I getting enough rest? Am I eating the right foods? Because all of that is going to impact your movement, your
course
exercise, your body capabilities. Yeah, the
yeah
capacity that your body can achieve. Yeah.
all of that's related, and there's only in certain depths of sleep where we're able to reach certain levels of recovery and repair.
Mm.
Only become in sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Mm-hmm.
that's in sleep. There's only certain time frames which you're gonna get these hormones released, growth hormones released, these things that are gonna help with recovering these tissues
Mm-hmm.
damage that need to be repaired. And so there's only certain like you can only get that out of that's
Speaking of hormones,
yes.
that's
Like
another
the
issue,
change that are
right? That is another huge issue
yeah.
for women in general.
Oh,
Not even grandmas,
yeah.
because grandmas range in age from some of the youngest, according to AARP, is 38. And then of course it goes all the way up the spectrum. So it doesn't really matter. I don't think age has anything to do with it, really, because as women we deal with those issues all the time. But how does that impact, or does that impact even the movement of your body? Because I know it impacts the weight loss, weight gain, all that, but does that impact?
Um well, I'm not specialized in that, to be incredibly
Right.
honest.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
yeah, I don't want to go into a rabbit hole and say nothing wrong, Um hmm, I would have to look further into that.
Okay. Okay. Because that, to me, I think is an
I,
issue with. Yeah, I think that's an issue though with. I know for me, it may be an issue for me. I
I feel
don't know, because I haven't had an analysis or anything to
yeah,
know. But I've heard women talk about that before. I've heard friends talk about that and say,
yeah.
yeah, my doctor told me the reason I'm not losing weight is because. I'm like, oh, really? So that's a
Well,
big,
could
big deal.
yeah,
So maybe we need to find someone that we can talk about that, because that's a huge
yeah,
issue for women. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yep. Okay.
there definitely is a correlation, but as far as how deep I'm able to go into it, it's not
Right. So there is a
very
correlation,
there,
yeah. With
but
with the movement part, there's
yeah,
definitely a correlation. Okay, that's good to know, because yeah, um, not to make excuses, but I think that could be partial reasons why
yeah.
not able to do certain things.
Or like there's a whole
Mm.
there's different ways in which it can.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I can't.
Understand? Yeah,
Can't
and I respect you for that. Mm-hmm. That's not your area of expertise, so right, I understand that. But that's a question that I've had for a while about women and movement and exercising and health and wellness. The whole issue about how hormones kind of impact
yeah.
that. But yeah, I'm gonna.
As far
That
as
tells me I need to do
there definitely
talk.
there definitely is
Mm-hmm.
something with age and
Mm-hmm.
hormones. Definitely
Mm-hmm.
is.
Okay.
Aside from the pressures that we deal with, society and food and medications and all those things that are not necessarily that are working like with us, but um,
Mm-hmm.
as far as age, yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
Mm-hmm.
in your 20s, you have a huge spike in testosterone levels. You're invincible. Your recovery's out of this world. You're bouncing back like nothing. Around your getting close to your 30s, you're getting strong. Around your 40s, that's when you're gonna have some physiological changes go on that are inevitable. And so it's like what you did between ages of 20 and 40. That right there is you're gonna start to see it in your do this or did you not? Are you playing catch up or are you playing maintenance? Then
Mm-hmm.
then you have menopause kicking in. You have
Mm-hmm.
all of this stuff that's taking roles into um, how we go about living our everyday life. So like there's definitely
Hmm.
all of that stuff that's happening, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. So tell me, I've been wanting to ask you this.
Hmm.
Why Built by Blanca? Tell me why you decided that name for your company.
Yes. Well, I thought about it for a long time,
Uh-huh.
and not
Uh-huh.
like BBB, and it worked perfectly. It worked perfectly.
Uh-huh.
But I would put like, you see, I was thinking maybe like Body by Blanca, but then I was like, it's not necessarily about like, it's not necessarily. I'm not really in that. I'm not really in that industry. I'm not really about aesthetics. I'm not really about. It's not really something that I'm into. I'm more so about like building people. And if you are into the body industry, if you're into bodybuilding and all this stuff, like okay, like that would make sense for it to be like that. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm more about building. And so
Mm-hmm.
what I mean by not just in exercise is
Mm-hmm.
other categories in life and seeing how exercise can complement people's categories in life. So I'm about building the person as a whole.
Okay.
When it comes to
Okay.
finding confidence in everyday movements.
Uh-huh.
So I'm building you as a whole. I'm looking at everything all together and how can you find joy in exercising because it's it's uncomfortable. It's sometimes not all that fun, but how can we celebrate movement?
Uh-huh.
How really, really build a person from that aspect and see, okay, now that I'm exercising, now that I'm moving better, I'm realizing that at work, I don't feel as much pain, or at work,
Mm-hmm.
I have more energy. At work, I'm able to move these boxes more efficiently because I'm remembering about what you're saying. At work, even though I'm working at a desk and I'm not moving a lot, I'm paying attention more to my posture. So that's how I'm like building a person as
Okay.
looking into the functional aspect. How do they move? Am
Uh-huh.
I an electrician? Am I dealing with somebody who works with kids who's bending down a lot? Am I dealing with somebody who does yard work? Am I dealing with, so I'm looking at how are they moving? What's going on? And how can I build them from that aspect?
Mm-hmm.
How can I fulfill my calling by helping them fulfill their calling? So
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah.
that's
Yeah, Kathy was just saying that when you move better, it impacts your self esteem. That is definitely true.
yes.
That is
When it's
definitely true.
when it's celebrated, every milestone
Mm-hmm.
is celebrated.
Mm-hmm.
Have
Mm-hmm.
somebody work out, and just like that patient who called me and was upset about their quads burning, I was like, no, this is a great thing. That means your muscles are getting stronger.
Right.
It means that this is going to help you walk this. But
It's working.
if I never told them that, they would have been like, what? I'm never working out again. This is so weird. I don't like this. Y'all
Mm-hmm.
workout people are weird. I don't get that. No, no, just stop. I want to live them in that way and be like, no, let's celebrate this. This is good. Your body is doing everything it needs to do.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
It's listen. So,
Yeah, so do you have any more questions for me? That was my last question for you, was about the name.
what my last question is: what would you tell other grandmas that are thinking about training with me?
Oh, that's an excellent question. Yeah, that's an excellent way. So what I would tell people is, number one, if you really want to be independent, to be able to take care of yourself, do things for yourself, Built by Blanca is probably the person you want to work with, because first she's going to figure out where you are, then she's going to help you get there, then she's going to tell you exactly what you're doing, how you're doing, and doing it the right way as you're going through that process. Um, and then your personality. I like your personality. You're bubbly. You're not, get over there, give me 500 push-ups. You're not that type. So, you make it pleasant to work with you. That's the other part of it. And even though it's only 30 minutes that we work out, oh my God, there's so much we do in that 30 minutes. It's amazing. And now I was doing hour-long classes before, right? And I was like, God, I can't wait for that hour to be up. But I'm saying the same thing about 30 minutes too, by the way. But it's because, for me, I won't say nobody likes exercise, but some people do. I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
because, and the reason I enjoy it is because I want to improve my body. That's the reason that I enjoy it. So I've had to talk myself into it, because there were years when I didn't do any exercise. Okay, I have the pictures to show, and I don't want to show them, but anyway. So I really now I'm focusing on, like I said, being a better version of myself, the 2.0 version of myself. So taking the class with you, again, I like your personality. And I like the fact that you are an expert in this field. You have been trained to know what the body can and cannot do. And so I don't have to worry that, you're going to hurt me in any way where I can't recover from it. I don't have to worry about that. Sometimes when we get the quote unquote fitness people that have not necessarily been trained on the body and trained on something else, and then just, like I said, just decide to get a certificate, you really don't know what you're getting, and so that, to me, I don't know. I mean, I have worked out with people like that, and I probably will continue, but I like the fact that, you know what you're talking about. That to me is so, so critical. And that was one of the reasons why, like I said, I was really excited to talk to you, to learn about you and what you do, is because that's important. And especially at this point in my life, it's really important for me. So that's what I would tell people.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I want to make sure that, grandmas know that, again, what we do and what we're trying to do is all about trying to help you redesign your life and realign
Yes.
and refine it to a certain extent so you can be the better version of yourself
Of
and
course.
the best version. Because that song about living your best life? Yeah, and that's important.
Yeah.
It's really important. And not thinking that, oh God, I can't do this, because you might not be able to do it today, but keep working towards it, and guess what? You will get there.
It's those subtle thoughts that you don't think about that become invasive when you
Mm-hmm.
when you can't do that, and you're okay, and you just block that out, and you revisit that area. Oh wait, I can't do it again. It was something that was buried that you never unraveled, but
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
for what?
So
Yeah.
So I think the other thing is that, I think on both our sites we've been promoting the class, right? So
Yeah.
we want to continue to do that, so that we can get more people. And it doesn't, I mean, for me, it doesn't have to be a big class. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but I still think it's important. I want to share it with people as much as possible, because I think that you are a fine. I mean, I really do. I'm not just saying that, but I really believe that. And so, because you don't get people that really have the background in the whole body movement, you're all about the movement of the body. That's what kinesiology is about, right? So, yeah, and that to me is a beautiful thing, because, yeah, that's rare. So what we're bringing to grandmas is something that, is so rare that they probably don't even know how to, like I said, like with a friend that joined the class, did the class, and she was like, yeah, but she's treating me like a patient. She's telling me and I'm like, well, isn't that what you want? And I'm like, well, her background is kinesiology. That's why she
Mm-hmm.
knows like every bone, every part of the body. She can tell you the details,
Yeah.
small muscles and all this, and has the names for them. So to me, that makes sense. I don't know, but that was just how I saw it. So
That's
anyway.
that's honestly why I thank people just as much as they thank me. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
they thank me all day. Oh, thanks for letting me work with you this time. No, thank you for letting me work with you. Thank you for
Mm-hmm.
sharing my viewpoints. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your health journey. It's an honor and a blessing to be a part of somebody's letting you in this category of their life.
Mm-hmm.
They're trusting
Mm-hmm.
to guide them through.
Mm-hmm.
This is a huge deal. This is their, you know what I mean? This is huge. So I always thank them just,
Right.
and so it's a matter of if it's their cup of tea and if they like it and if they value it and if that's something that they want. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
why I always say thank you just as much. And so
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. 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 Yep.
appreciate you reaching out
So
to me.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the folks that have joined us, and said some good things. So I really appreciate that. So we are there's still room for folks who are interested in joining Grandma's 2.0 and Built by Blanca. We do our sessions on Tuesday night at 7 p.m., Thursday night at 7 p.m., and on Saturday morning at 10.
Yes.
So it's fun. It's good. I mean, when I say fun, it's not like we're dancing and all that, but fun is that we are getting some individual attention to help us be a better version of ourselves, and as far as our physical health is concerned. Because if you can't do that, the other things won't even matter. You
It's
can't get
like,
that together, right?
yes. It's like,
Yes. So yeah, it won't even matter. So, and again, in this time of COVID, it's you can do it in the comfort of your own home, by yourself, invite a friend, whatever. But
yeah.
I love that part too, the virtual part, and it's real easy to get in. Just click on a couple links, and you're in there.
Yes.
All right, so that's it. Let's see. Do I have any more questions? There was one other thing that I thought about that I wanted to ask you. About Abby. I went on your site and I saw the pictures of Abby and her doing was it that pulled, what is that thing called? The
Yeah.
GRX? Yes. I was like, go, Abby.
Yes. She was
Oh
just.
my God.
Oh man, she was on earlier, but yeah, I had her do some
Uh,
TF squats. Yeah.
okay, yeah, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. I'm like, wow. And to be able to do those kinds of things, I'm sure that just did, yeah, that just really changed her whole perspective about
Yeah.
so many other things. So it's not just about the physical health, but it also, like Cass was saying earlier, about the self-esteem. It helps you in so many other areas of your life.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
TRX it's actually really fun, but
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
also about introducing exercise. It's giving the person grace, giving them compassion, giving them like kind of letting it flow naturally, not necessarily introducing it into like a way where they're just getting in there, but let's see how you flow. Let's see how you like it. Let's see how it works. Let's add more. Let's see how that is. Let's take this back. Let's do this. Let's celebrate this. Hey, let's. So it's all about taking someone in and just working with them.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Really
Yeah,
help.
and where they are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
are and so
Uh-huh. Yeah,
it.
that's the other part that I like about your working out with you, doing this work with you. And I don't feel like it's working out, to be honest with you. Because and the reason I say that is because the working out, I guess I'm comparing it to just not lifting, but the working out where you do the aerobics and all that. This is so different to me. It's almost like having not a personal trainer, but a personal person that kind of focus just on your body. That's what it's like. And
Yeah,
what your body can and cannot do, and help your body, help you be able to, get your body to, take it to the next level. That's the part that I like about it. Yeah.
yeah. It's all
So,
about.
and again, that's where your expertise comes in. And so that's why I was so excited to connect with you. So thank you again for that. And, I don't have any more questions. I don't have any more questions. Uh, I was just kind of looking at my little cheat sheet here to make sure. What kind of So we talked about the class Tuesday night, Thursday night, 7 p.m. via Zoom in
Yeah,
the comfort of your own home, and then on Saturday mornings at 10.
yeah.
Any last words,
The
golden nuggets that you would leave for grandmas or anybody who's listening?
What workout regimen would you recommend? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I think this class is a great start because
Mm,
it's half an hour and it's every
mm-hmm.
day. So it's giving you time to recover and it's not
Ah,
too long. So that's actually something that people will recommend off the start. If this is something that you haven't done before, or if you're introducing something new, or if you're trying to like ease the way back into it and find kind of grace into it, you know,
mm-hmm.
especially with this population, start them off. Okay, now there's a huge spectrum of grandma. There's different, as you know, different ages, different fitness levels. But if
Mm-hmm.
black half an hour every other day, see how that goes.
Okay. Okay.
Like
Yeah, that's
and intentionally done this way, to where okay, half an hour, really, let's do that for a few weeks. Okay, well then let's see if we can do half an hour 4 days a week. So they're able to do 1 day on their own. So that, like, the scheduling of the class kind of leads, what do I recommend? And so, yeah.
Okay. So I'm just putting a little message in here to go to Grandma's 2.0 and sign up for our virtual workout sessions.
All right.
And look for the one built by Blanca. So that's our website address there, and you could go there, sign up for our virtual sessions. Look for it online, and we hope to see you in class soon on Tuesday night.
Well, thank you.
All right, thank you, Blanca.
Peace.
Have a great weekend, and I really enjoyed the session this morning.
Yes.
All right. Okay, take care.
You too.
Bye. Bye, everybody.